you're going to take the time to be grateful, then why keep it to yourself? Why not share it with others to help spread the positivity and love? You don't need to make it hard, right? Just the act of saying, okay, I'm going to focus on gratitude. I'm going to make it a part of my life. I'm going to look for ways to be grateful. I think that's important. As we start out this month of November, when this show is airing, that's Thanksgiving time and a time where, we all think about being thankful, but why not do it every day? What is up, Impact Heroes? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rick Ornelas. Thank you for spending some time with us today because we know time's a valuable resource and we're going to make it worth your while. I appreciate each and every one of you, not just for listening, but for who you are. I know you're sparking change to make the world a better place every day, and I am humbled and grateful for your efforts. It takes all of us doing our part to spread positive change, and that's what this show is all about. Motivating you with stories of struggle, courage, and hope to empower you to make a difference in your life and the lives of others.
In case you missed it,
what advice would you give to those individuals that are trying to translate from, hey, I'm going through all this, but I'm not learning, or I'm not applying?
It's actually why I decided to write this book, Rise of the Reader, because people would say, hey, Nick, you're recommending these amazing books. Some of them would probably solve the problems that I'm currently facing. And so
available everywhere you listen to your podcasts.
Welcome back, Impact Heroes, to the latest edition of I Spark Change Through. Our goal with these episodes is featuring all the different ways that us and others spark change to make the world a better place through social impact and positive change. We have found over the past few years that there are endless ways to positively impact each other's day, and most of us don't really do them, or we don't really realize when we do. Now, this response to this segment has been extremely positive. We've had episodes on sparking change through fitness, adventure, your mind, body, spirit, volunteering, mental health awareness, writing, interns, cultural exchange, networking, time, and most recently, self-care. So on that note, I have a question for you. How do you spark change? One of the ways we spark change here at I Spark Change is through gratitude. So I'm going to start off with a question. How grateful are you? Now, if this question throws you off, then my guess is that gratitude is not something you are very familiar with, or at least you don't think about it on a daily basis. If that's you, then I completely understand, because gratitude is an important part of my day, but that wasn't always the case. Not long ago, I was more focused on myself than what I needed to do to stay ahead than I was on being grateful for what I had and the gifts that I received each day. Now, that type of self-centered attitude may seem gratifying in the short term, but trust me, it's fleeting and it only leads to a big void inside. You end up constantly chasing the next big thing, whatever's going to keep you happy, and that's just unsustainable and it's unrealistic. Now, what makes our collective situation worse is that we have the negativity of our environment to contend with on a constant basis. Now, I know it's difficult to focus on gratitude when we're bombarded by negativity in today's world. We can't turn on the TV, open our news feed on our phone, or scroll through social media without seeing some type of hatred or negative content poisoning our mind. And I literally do look at it as poison, which is why I use those words. So that's why it's ultra important to use the power of gratitude to cleanse our mind and our spirit. Now, you may be wondering how you can do this or how it's going to work for you and what I'm actually talking about. So here are some tips that work for me. Now, I started doing these super simple things a few years back when I decided to focus on bettering myself and serving others. That's when I really woke up and realized that, okay, it's not about you. You need to focus on others. The first one is begin your day with gratitude. Seems simple, right? But I start my day by journaling at least 5 things that I am grateful for into my phone. I use the gratitude app, which I like. There's dozens of other ones that work equally well. You can just put it in the notes on your phone if you want, which is what I originally started out doing. And then I'll journal 3 more in a hard copy journal a bit later in the morning when I have breakfast. Now, I began this practice last year when I started using the 3-minute Power Positivity Journal from my friend, and then even more recently have transitioned to her 3-minute Happiness Journal. but any journal will do, right? Whatever journal you want to use. Now, I use these because I think they add a new dimension that stimulates my thought. They have specific questions with regards to what you're grateful for and everything. And I like that. And research shows that starting your day with gratitude puts you in a positive frame of mind that makes it easier to tackle life's challenges. And they also help you to reflect on the events of the previous day. Sometimes I'll reflect on, in the morning, I'll reflect on what I dreamt about, what happened the day before. I'll read scripture in the morning. So what that reminds me to be grateful for, it all just depends on what I'm feeling in the moment. But I don't make it hard. I just, whatever comes to mind. And that's what I journaled down. I promise you try it out for a week. I guarantee you're going to see some benefits. Figure out what works for you and stick with it. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, or don't make it a chore. It just needs to be consistent. So it becomes a habit like brushing your teeth. Now, you wouldn't go a day without doing that, I hope. So don't go a day without journaling gratitude. All right. The second tip is just end your day with gratitude. It's pretty easy, right? Begin your day and then end your day. Now, I essentially do the same things I did in the morning with a bit of a twist. First, I add at least one note to the gratitude app, which I talked about already. And then I'll add some gratitude to my journal of activities from the day. So I use a separate journaling app where I'll do separate journaling on, what I did that day and how did God show up in my life, which I've talked about on the show, and other challenges I faced and things like that. And in there, I will add some gratitude as well. And so I'll add them there. And then finally, I'll go back to the positivity or happiness journal, and I'll do the evening exercises there to add some more gratitude. And the last thing I do is a little bit unique for me, and hopefully others, pick it up, but I'll journal one thing that I'm grateful for about my wife, Tanya. Now, I started this practice a few years back when at that time, I was keeping track of one way that I loved her, something I loved about her, one way that I love her each day. I did that for a whole year, and then I gave it to her in a book that I created, about 365 ways, that I love you. And she loved it so much that I decided that I would continue on to all the ways that I'm grateful for her, just to change it up, right? I started that last year and went through all of last year and have continued on this year. And, I think it's a nice way to help me see how special she is each day, which, honestly, it kind of warms my heart, makes me smile, and, hopefully it does her. And the reason I beginning and end is because by bookending the day, right, beginning and end, I ensure that I go to sleep with a positive mindset, which helps me to have a good night's sleep, helps me to wake up, positive. And I found that if I go to bed with too much negativity on my mind, it makes for a restless night. And, I don't want to have, terrible night's sleep, right? So those are ultra important, right? Begin and end. And the third one is simply to share it with others. If you're going to take the time to be grateful, then why keep it to yourself? Why not share it with others to help spread the positivity and love? In the morning when I open my gratitude app, there's always a small image. They have a little image with the gratitude of the day, right? It'll be usually a quote from someone in history or someone famous. And I save those typically in the photos of my phone, and then I'll share those, in different groups I'm in, or share those with others. And there's one at the end of the day that I look at as well. And then after I journal my 5 things, then, I'll see who does this remind me of? And if there's something that I can share with them to help, start their day off on the right foot. And I'll also share some of the things that I write about my wife. I'll share those with her on occasion if they're special, or, I think they're going to make her laugh. I consider like giving a random greeting card, just on a random Tuesday, you decide to bring home a card. Because, I think it's a nice sentiment, and it may bring a smile to her face. So why not share it? So I should also mention that, prayer and reading scripture are part of my gratitude practice, because I feel that God deserves the ultimate gratitude for everything that is my life. And so the very first thing I do is to read scripture, and there'll be, thanks and gratitude that are built in there. And I use the Bible app, and I have different books that I'll read in scripture, but that's a key part for me. So I think that's important to note if that's going to help you. And that's it, right? Pretty simple. You don't need to make it hard, right? Just the act of saying, okay, I'm going to focus on gratitude. I'm going to make it a part of my life. I'm going to look for ways to be grateful. I think that's important. As we start out this month of November, when this show is airing, that's Thanksgiving time and a time where, we all think about being thankful, but why not do it every day? Why not be grateful and thankful every day? And I can tell you that since journaling gratitude, I found that I'm far more patient, I'm far more tolerant, and I'm more open and can deal with negative experiences. Now, hopefully, Tanya and my family will agree, but, I would say that that's definitely true. And I also, tend to say thank you more, which, I'm sure others appreciate, and hopefully they notice it too. So it, kind of rubs off on them. But on that note, thank you for joining me for today's episode. I'm grateful for each and every one of you in the Impact Hero community. I hope that what I shared resonated with you in some way and sparked something inside of you, because remember, you have the ability to spark change every day. And so, go out there and make someone's day positive, show them that gratitude, show them that love, and you'll have a positive impact on them. I'd love to learn more ways that you spark change. So please share those with me on social media. I promise I will personally respond. And as always, thanks for listening today, and we'll see you next time on the I Spark Change podcast.
Do you want Rick to speak at your event? Here's what others have to say.
Did not know his story, and it was so inspirational, and his presence on stage, his authenticity was just incredible.
Absolutely loved his performance. It made me feel some type of way.
If you're looking for a speaker for your next event, hire Rick. I promise you this, you will not be disappointed.
Visit rickcornelis.com to book him today.
Remember, Impact Heroes, every positive action can be a spark moment that has a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the initial act. So go out there and spark change. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, then please smash that 5-star rating on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review. We value your comments and we want to hear from you in the community. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and we'll see you next week on the I Spark Change podcast.